Hello friends, welcome back to another session of DBMS. Today I'm going to talk about relational model. So before understanding what is relational model, let us try to understand what is a data model. Database models define how data is organized, stored, and managed in a database system. They describe the logical structure of the data and the relationships between different data elements. So the common database models include relational data model, hierarchical data model, network data model, object-oriented model, entity relationship model, and then semi-structured model, to name few. So let us see what is meant by a relational data model. The relational model, the data is represented in tables with rows and columns, emphasizing relationships and structured querying using SQL. So in here, you can see that there is a table with three attributes: course, duration, and type, and then some tuples, which are also called as rows. So this is how a relational model is represented in DBMS. This is an example of hierarchical data model where in this model, the data is organized in a tree-like structure with parent and child relationships. So while largely hierarchical data model is obsolete in the sense like it is like fading out, the hierarchical model remains relevant in legacy systems like IBM's IMS, used in banking and government, specialized applications such as the file systems, XML, JSON document storage, and in education for understanding the evolution of the data models. So this is hierarchical data model. So this is an example of the network model. So network model uses a graph structure where data is represented as nodes and relationships as edges, allowing many-to-many connections. So the network data model is not entirely obsolete, like hierarchical data model, but its use has significantly declined in favor of many modern database models like relational model and NoSQL databases. So in here, you can see that there are connections which are forming cycles. Like university, there are two departments, which is computer and then mathematics. And then both the students of mathematics and computer faculty and everybody can use the libraries and the computer lab. So this kind of model is called as a network model. Next is object-oriented model. So this is an example of object-oriented model. So you have the object, which is customer, which is Sudha, and then the attributes of the customer, which is like the name of the customer, and then the name of the place the customer is from, and so on, and then the bank account details, and then the address of the customer, and so on. This kind of representation is considered as object-oriented model. This integrates the object-oriented programming concepts to store data as objects with attributes and methods. So like in object-oriented programming, as we have a class with attributes and methods combined together to represent an object. So this model actually depicts the object-oriented programming concepts. So this is entity relational model. So the entity relationship model is a high-level conceptual data model used to describe the structure of the database. It visually represents the entities, their attributes, and the relationships among them, serving as a blueprint for designing a database. So this is an EM diagram for two entities, which is student and course, which are connected with the relationship that is study. And each and every entity, student is having its own attributes like student ID, student name, student age, and so on. Like course is having its own attributes like course ID and course name. So this is ER model. So the next is the semi-structured data model. So semi-structured data model is a flexible way to represent and store data that does not conform to a rigid schema as seen in the relational databases. Example of the semi-structured data models is the JSON and the XML files. As you can see, there is like a root which is like considered to be the book, and then you have notes like author one, author two, and then the title and year. So such kind of representation, we call it as the semi-structured data models. So now that we understood what is a data model, so in my next video, I'll discuss introduction to relational data model in depth. Thank you for watching.